What's going on, everybody? We are live. It's BoogiePod episode 35. So we are what? How many are we away from 50 or 50? We are on quick math.
15.
Yeah, okay. That's why Jake got big brains. We're 15 away from 50, and we got some things to talk about. UFC 276 was this past week. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the fight night coming up. Some big changes in college football on the way and college basketball. The casual MLB stuff that we do, and some people coming back from injury list. Then we got some NBA stuff to talk about some contracts and things like that. Then NFL contract, and then we got somebody had some things to say NFL-wise, and we're going to talk about what's next for them. So let's get started off right here. College baseball, absolutely nothing to talk about there, so we're going to move on. Awful. It's going to be a dead sport all the way. Well, it stays kind of dead, low-key, but it don't matter. Okay. All right, moving on. So I'm putting college basketball and college football together today because what we're going to talk about affects both of them, and that is the USC and UCLA moving to the Big Ten, which is pretty big news. That's big news, especially for USC and more UCLA in basketball and USC in football. So Jake, what does this mean for these schools in basketball primarily? That's what we're going to start out with. What does it mean for these schools in basketball?
In basketball, I don't know. I mean, it means more. They're both pretty solid in basketball. They're both top 25, middle of the pack.
UCLA is typically your basketball school, though.
Yeah, they were really good.
Yeah.
Last year, they made it really fun. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the Big Ten's better at basketball than the Pac-12.
Yeah, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
That's why it's maybe close.
Yeah, there's different ways you can really look at it from a Big Ten in basketball perspective to a Big Ten in football perspective, where it's kind of like, is it really even the right move for the basketball way? And it's really not. And you could obviously tell, football's a more premier sport than basketball. That's why it really has nothing to do with that. But it's just, I thought that was very interesting to look at from a basketball standpoint, because whenever these change, everyone always wants to look at it from a football standpoint. So I thought it might be interesting to look at differently from a basketball standpoint, because there's a lot of people out there who just watch basketball and don't care about football. Plenty of people. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to see it from that standpoint. Doesn't really affect too much in basketball, though, because it don't matter what conference you're in basketball. The playoffs so big, if you're good, you're going to go. And it's just that simple. But I always thought it'd be interesting to look at it from that standpoint. So let's get into what it really means, I guess. What does it mean for football? I'll start it off this time. Football, this is what it means. It means the Pac-12 is dead, and we're going to get to that in a minute and what's next for the Pac-12. We'll get there here in a minute. But for USC and UCLA, USC just got a huge hire in Lincoln Riley as their head coach, and they're getting big recruits. And they're getting some transfers, and they're trying to break USC. They're trying to bring it back to what it used to be. And in order to do that, I'm not saying you have to leave the Pac-12 for USC to get this stardom again. You don't. You really don't. You go in national championship Pac-12. That's fine. Debatably an easier road. And they're not moving till later on, a couple more years. But once they do move, and all these super conferences are going to come together, Big Ten's a good place to land. You want to be there. If you're not going to be in the SEC, you want to be in the Big Ten. And those are the two places you want to go. So, dub for USC. UCLA, I actually think not a dub. Because if you move USC out of the conclusion, then UCLA can be by themselves in the Pac-12 in California, I think. I don't think there's another Pac-12 California. Cal. Oh, no, that's bad.
Yeah,
if there's anybody, I'm sorry, Cal fans. But UCLA would be the premier school right there. And that would be good for them. And I think that would actually help that football team out and football program a lot if they were better. So I think dub for USC, L for UCLA. What do you think?
Well, depends how you look at it with dub or L, because financially it's a dub for both. Because I saw Josh Pate talking about it, and Rutgers made $50 million more last year off of conference, TV deal stuff than USC or UCLA, and that's just unacceptable.
Yeah,
that's not good. That means Pac-12's slacking.
Yeah,
but I think I look at it kind of like a UNC and Duke, where you can't split them apart. They're kind of a rival. I mean, USC and UCLA is not a big a rivalry, but it's important rivalry in California.
Yeah,
and it would be a shame if they really never got to play each other that much again.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're in different conferences. And I think it's good for those two, kind of, but it's bad for college football because you're moving away from territories like West Coast football, East Coast football, Midwest, down south football. It's kind of all becoming national, and at some point, there's probably going to be two super conferences, Big Ten, SEC, most likely, and you'll have like NFC, AFC. It's going to be pretty much NFL Junior in about 10, 20 years, in my opinion, which it could turn out well, but I kind of like how college football was now. And there could be changes, but I liked it better before people started moving conferences as much.
Yeah, and to get to your point about the super conferences and stuff like that, what should be next for the Pac-12? Should they go? What schools should they maybe go get out to expansion? I saw on the headlines that they were looking at schools to expand with. In my personal opinion, if I'm Pac-12, here's what I do: I merge with the Big 12. Why not make your own super conference on that side of the world, or the United States, and you make your own super conference. Merge those schools, right? You do everything in your power to keep Oregon. You have to keep Oregon. Yeah. That is your school. So if you're gonna stay with the Pac-12 only and you're not gonna merge, you have Oregon. Work with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's no disrespect to the other schools, but you have Oregon. And basketball and some other stuff like getting into basketball. I know you have other teams when it comes to basketball. Everyone's good, but we're looking at football standpoint here mainly because it doesn't really, like we said earlier, it doesn't really affect basketball as much. But in football, you gotta keep Oregon. That's your main thing. You got any thoughts about that? What should the Pac-12 do in your eyes?
What should they do? I don't know. I'd about to say just pack it up. Honestly, I think Oregon and Utah's Pac-12. I don't want to sound like an idiot.
Yes.
Utah's Pac-12.
Yes,
they're pretty good right now. Yes. They're good right now. Those two need to be. Well, if I were them, I don't like it for college football, but if I was like the president of that school, I would be looking to run from the Pac-12 because to get into the college football playoff, you're going to have to be undefeated and blowing out everybody.
Yeah,
beating everybody.
You're going to get the same treatment Group of 5 schools get almost.
A little bit, maybe a little different, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's the same concept. Like you have to kill everybody.
You'll be closer to Group of 5. You'll be closer to Group of 5 treatment than you will be a Power 5 treatment.
Yeah, because like if they wouldn't have moved, it was getting harder, so it would have been a little better for a team like Oregon.
Yeah,
we can maybe lose one, and like but you got USC's good now. You think they should be good?
Yes.
So I don't know. I'd be running somewhere if I was Oregon.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, moving on to UFC. UFC 276 was this past weekend. It was a good card. It wasn't much of crazy fights, but a lot of good names on there. We got a lot of movements now in some divisions and stuff, and we'll get to. And let's start with the very first fight on the main card. Let's give our reactions and thoughts to all of these. And that was Pedro Munoz versus Sean O'Malley. It was a no contest. Sean O'Malley supposedly poked him in the eye, and Pedro Munoz supposedly couldn't move on no more. And it was no contest, which really sucks. I hate that because me and you personally, I'm sure a lot of people were looking forward to that fight. Sean O'Malley's a pretty big star. And I'll give my thoughts about this first, actually. I originally was like, okay, when I first saw it, I was like, dang, it's an eye poke. That sucks. I'm going to take Pedro at his word. He's hurt. Whoop-de-doo, that sucks. And that just sucks for fight fans. And the Weasel, I'm going to call him out real fast. The Weasel.
Yeah, I was good. Yeah.
Yeah. He made some comments, and they were wrong. And that is what it is. He was wrong. But I'm not going to just completely just write him off as wrong, though. I get where he was coming from, okay? He was defending Pedro, and that's what he was trying to do. Because no one knew the real situation. Even though from what it looked like Pedro was trying to get out of there, nobody knew for sure what he was actually feeling. Later comes out throughout the week, Pedro's eye is jacked, whatever. And we see some pictures of Pedro. Some people saying it's the wrong guy. Some people saying it's not the wrong guy. Then the orbital bone thing came out. There was a bunch of theories of other things happening to him on why he wanted out. Here's what I say. They forget all of it. Never happened. You move on Pedro Munoz with his career. You move on Sean O'Malley with his career. You don't look at it as a win or loss for either guy. You just look at it as the fight never happened. And that's what a no contest is. It never happened. So I think they should treat it like that, act like these guys were never matched up. And then if they want to put them back together, sure. If not, I would prefer them not to. But whatever. What do you think about this?
See, originally I was really angry at the fights. You were more disappointed. I was disappointed too, but I was pretty mad because I was on the team Pedro just absolutely wanted out of there, which I still think he did want out of there. But his eye was jacked. His eye is very scratched. But it was not the eye poke because his eye never got poked. There's a big difference in brushing down on someone's eyelid and actually poking them. like Izzy or Daniel Cormier style, like actually poking and hurting someone's eye. And the MMA guru, oh my god, hold on 1 second.
Dogs. Oh.
Okay. What was I saying?
You were talking about
Pedro,
MMA
pretty much,
Guru.
yeah, MMA guru pretty much comes out and says, "Look at this film. Pedro gets punched round 1 and keeps grabbing his eye, his left eye, his left eye. So to us, it looks like his right eye, but it's his left." And my issue with the Weasel is that on his thumbnail, he flips that Pedro picture and makes it look like the same eye as the brush on Pedro's right side. His right eye is the one that got brushed. That's what everyone thought was going on. Was the eye poke? But the Weasel like changed it and made it seem that way for some reason. But in reality, it was the other eye which got punched. And I still think Pedro went out of there, I guess, to wrap up my thoughts because that's kind of longer. But
yeah,
O'Malley kind of takes dub because he did like do damage to him, but it's like also not really because not technically, he got a no contest.
Yeah,
but it's kind of a shame, really. It's just it's a shame.
It is
waste time.
It is a waste of time, and it was a fight that everyone was looking forward to on that card, which practically never happened. Now, really sucks. Moving on to the card though, we had a war with Lawler, and Barbereno.
Mm-hmm.
Barbereno ended up making a comeback knockout in round 2, actually. He was getting pieced up in round 1 by some heavy shots from Lawler, and then all of a sudden, Barbereno starts finding a stride, hurts Lawler with a couple shots, and then Lawler's not able to respond, and he puts him out. Great performance from Barbereno, and Lawler actually didn't even look that bad to be his age. To be 40, there's a lot of other men that wouldn't look that good to be 40, and I guess he's going to keep fighting. He didn't retire, which is very shocking.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really my thoughts and opinions on the fight. You go ahead.
My first thought is how easy he took it on Nick Diaz, because Robbie Lawler was stinging old Barberena bad, like some really actually good shots that would have knocked out a lot of guys, a lot of them.
Yeah,
and he was definitely taking it easy on Nick Diaz bad because he did not throw anything like that at all, even half that. He was just like peppering him up, little tiny punches, but yeah, Barberena's definitely got a chin on him because he don't hit very hard. But Robbie Lawler's at that stage where he still hits good. He's got good hands, but if you catch him, he can't recover quick enough anymore, and that's exactly what happened.
Yep.
He got caught, couldn't recover. That's how it
is. Emma said, "Nice background." Appreciate that, Emma. Thank you. I'm changing it up every podcast. We're changing it up. All right. Moving on to the feature fight of the whole main card, and that was Sean Strickland versus Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira knocks him out badly in round 1. I will still say this. It might be because I'm a Sean Strickland fan, so I might be defending him just because I'm a Sean Strickland fan. Me and my dad talked about this fight, and his words were, how dumb is Sean Strickland to stand with him and like that? And I'm like, Dad, here's my take on it, okay? So if you're thinking like this, here's my argument to you. Is... like, you claim how dumb is Sean Strickland to stand with him, but every fight starts standing. It was a knockout with 1 minute and 30 seconds into the fight. And I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. If Sean Strickland would have just shot for fun, it would have got stuffed. It would have been useless. You have to time up. That was the first hard punch Alex Pereira landed the whole fight. And it just happened to knock him out. I'm not going to dog on Sean Strickland. And again, it might be because I'm a fan. Maybe I'm biased. But I'm not going to dog on Sean Strickland for standing up with him for 1 minute and 30 seconds. I'm not going to dog him on that. He got tagged. He got put out. That was Alex Pereira's only path to victory in that fight. And it happened. And it is what it is. You tip your cap. You got knocked out. You move on to your next fight. Because I was also thinking about this today. And for Sean Strickland, there is 3 people, in my opinion, who can beat him in that division. 3 people. That is Izzy, that is Alex Pereira, and that is Robert Whittaker. I don't think there's anyone else that can beat him in there. I could be wrong. Could be completely wrong. I don't see no one that'd be able to take him down. And unless you have Alex Pereira's power and you just tag him, you're probably not going to knock him out. Paulo Costa might be able to knock him out. There's some other people that might be able to, catching him, but without the catch, are you going to be able to beat him? Probably not. You're going to get outpointed, right? So that is my take on it. And on Alex Pereira's side, great job. You did what you had to do. KO'd him. You have crazy power, and I hope you knock out Izzy. Go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, Sean Strickland. I'm not really a fan of Sean Strickland. I think he's funny. Like everyone thinks he's funny.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm okay that he didn't shoot yet. That wasn't my issue. It's that he kind of just stood there though, like waiting for something to happen. You can't do that with Alex Pereira, dude. He kind of stood there and just looked at him and walked, like actually just moseying on down towards him with his hands up and stood there. He threw like a jab or two, whatever. But Alex Pereira's a world champ kickboxer, dude. You can't do that. You have to do something against him, or he is going to take your head off. And that's exactly what happened. And we came into this fight thinking, Sean Strickland's got some kind of chin where it's going to take something like crazy power to knock him out. And I don't even think Alex Pereira even swung that hard.
Mm-hmm.
And he still knocked him out. Like pretty easily. Like one punch.
Yeah.
Put him down. And imagine what my first thoughts were too is like, imagine Alex Pereira not having to worry about a takedown, how he could strike. And Izzy ain't going to take him down.
No.
Like, I don't think. There's some people that think Izzy might try. I disagree.
Yeah.
I think Izzy will not try unless he gets caught. That's the only way. He'll like panic shoot. He will not shoot on his own like need before he gets caught. But yeah, Alex Pereira looks very good, better than I thought. Because I had Strickland winning this fight because I was the one to think that Sean Strickland walked down there and take him down, but he stood there. So hey, it is what it is.
What it is. It is what it is. Yeah.
Cost me money.
All right, moving on. Co-main event: Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway. Alexander Volkanovski dominated for 5 rounds decision, put a stamp on the trilogy, and good. Feel bad for Max Holloway fans, but Max Holloway, he's only 30. I don't know how much longer he has in the sport, but he has a lot longer left in life, and just Max Holloway's gonna be fine. Alexander Volkanovski, him on the other hand, has great things to look forward to, right? So he got 155. He has dominating at 145. He can be a double champ, and he says he wants to defend them both. I love that idea. I love him. Make him pass up Islam, fight Oliveira for the double belt, and that's what I want. I had Volkanovski winning 5-0. I don't think you can give any other round to Max Holloway. The first 2 rounds were competitive. After that, Volkanovski kind of just took the wheel and just knocked him out. He just outplayed him every single round. So tip my cap to Volkanovski, man. He made a real case to be really high on the pound for pound rankings, and good for him. Good for him. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll start with Holloway. I really don't know what they're going to do with him right now because, I mean, at 145, he's fought everybody, and then he's lost to the champ 3 times now. Yeah. So, I mean, what do you do? A lot of people say move up to 155, and he moved up once and got beaten outstruck by Dustin Poirier. What?
Hold on. There's a huge B right here. That is a wasp, dude. And it's like 2 millimeters away from me.
Did you get it?
No. Just trying to get him to go somewhere else. I don't think he can fly. Crawling. Ah! Holy crap. Hold on. What in the world? Dude!
Can you hear me right now?
Yeah.
You got a shoe on you?
Dude, this is... Yeah, hold on. Oh, no. Where did it go?
Did you lose it? Oh, no.
No. Huh.
Well, oh.
Oh, he's still alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Anyways.
R.I.P. Wasp in the chat.
Yeah.
That's a big old mug. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so Holloway, I was saying, 145, he's fought everybody, done everything. So I think the logical solution is move up to 155. But then he fought Poirier once at 155 and got outstruck not badly, but he got beat.
Yeah.
And got rocked a few times. And I just think he's in a spot where I would retire if I were him. I would retire. His voice starting to get a little slurred, turn into Nate Diaz. You don't want that. You're only 30. Go live your life. I would retire if I'm Matt Holloway right now.
Yeah, I could see that.
So now Alex Volkanovski dominated him badly after the first 2 rounds. Like, it was not ever close at all. And he's definitely separated himself from Holloway by quite a big gap now, I feel like. And I actually do like the idea of him skipping Islam Makhachev. Everyone knows Islam doesn't deserve it. Volk does. Oliveira obviously deserves to be back in there. Make him fight for the belt. I really like that idea too. That's the perfect scenario for me.
Yep. And moving on to the main event. Israel Adesanya versus Jared Cannonier. What a snooze fest. There's people leaving before the 5th round even started. That is so bad that people were leaving before the 5th round even started. That is awful. And Israel Adesanya better be lucky that his next fight is going to be hype against Alex Pereira, because he would not be headlining it. And I think he would not. I don't think he would be headlining it. So he's lucky of that. And then after that, if he beats Alex Pereira, maybe he beats him in cool fashion and he gets some hype. But right now he's not in a good spot. And man, it's going to be at the point where he might start getting booed on the walkouts and things like that. And if that really happens, he's going to be down bad. And he might be trying to look for a finish against Alex Pereira. And if he does that, KO style. And not much to say about Jared Cannonier. He sucks, and we knew that going into the fight. So there ain't really much to talk about there. So go ahead.
Yeah, Izzy is just pretty much a failed superstar at this point. It's the only way. And they're trying to make him the new superstar, and he lost to Jan Blachowicz. Ever since then, he's been very mediocre. And you'll have all his fans saying, we just don't understand striking. I mean, we don't understand striking completely, but it's like, dude, it's boring.
Yeah.
And he's not even landing any head kicks anymore.
No.
I don't think he landed one clean head kick on Cannonier. Maybe one. I mean, that's bad, dude.
That is bad. Yep.
He used to be automatic. That's his game. Now he barely even landed. I think he's a righty. I don't know if he landed a good right hand. He landed a few good jabs. But, I mean, and he said he had an off night. His past 4 fights have been off nights, dude. He fought good against Vettori, because he wrestles the whole time. But, the other ones, it's just not good. I don't know. I think Pereira's going to knock him out, too, most likely. But there is a scenario where I could see Izzy doing the same thing and somehow getting out of a decision barely, because they would keep him the champ if it was close, obviously.
Yeah.
So I worry for Izzy. Actually, I don't. I hope he loses, but if I were him, I'd be really worried.
Yeah. And then going into, let's do some early predictions here, because we got Fight Night next week. The co-mains between 2 high prospects in Caio Borrachinho and Petracion. They're both foreign, so I didn't pronounce this right. I'm sorry. And then the main events between Rafael dos Anjos versus Rafael Fiziev. I have Borrachinho in decision against Petracion in the co-main event. I think he'll piece him up. I think he's just overall just better than Patreon. That's the way I'm looking at it. Just overall. I don't know neither guy very well. I've actually never heard of him until this card. Did some research on him. That guy seems just to be better than the other one. Both high prospects, so what do you got?
Yeah, I agree. I don't really know much about him either. I actually don't know anything, to be fair. I have no idea who those guys are. Maybe because you're not pronouncing it quite. I don't know if I do know him, even if you did pronounce them right.
They're low on the prospect change, but both of them only have 1 loss, I think, and they both are 11-1. They're in the co-main for a reason. That's kind of the way I looked at it.
Yeah, I have to look at it. I don't know them.
We'll move into the main event, though. Rafael dos Anjos versus Rafael Fiziev. We definitely know those 2 guys. Yeah, Rafael dos Anjos. Man, it's hard to finish him. I'm going to go Rafael Fiziev in decision, but I don't think he'll be just a gimme like prospect versus elder. Rafael dos Anjos is still very, very talented. And I think he will actually... And there's a path for victory for Rafael dos Anjos. It's not like there isn't. It's literally take him down. Submit him down there, hold him down there. It's that simple for him. And for Rafael Fiziev, it's as simple as keep it standing and beat him. And it's not like Rafael dos Anjos is some slouch on the ground or standing up either. So it's not an easy path for victory for Rafael Fiziev. I'm still taking him by decision. I think he'll keep the fight standing. I think he'll tag him up. but it'll be hard to get RDA knocked out because of how good his chin is. But that's what I'm going with, and that's how I think the fight will plan out. What about you?
Yeah, I'm also going to go Fiziev, probably in decision, but I could see a finish. I think a lot of people are kind of higher on RDA than they should be because of that against Moicano, that
Yep.
late notice fight. They're a little higher than they should be, but RDA is still good. I agree, but I think Fiziev's he's got the age factor. He's hitting his prime years. RDA is kind of on his way out, but he's still okay actually. But I'll go Fiziev.
Yeah. Should have been Conor McGregor. Anyway, moving on. MLB. Jacob deGrom had his first rehab start, and he struck out 5 of the 6 batters he faced. What does this mean for the Mets when Jacob deGrom comes back? Because the Braves are inching closer to him. Your team, you got Braves hat on. I know you do. You have to. The Braves are inching closer to him every day. What does this mean for the Mets? Jake, I'll let you go ahead. That's your most hated team and your favorite team. So go ahead.
What it means for the Mets, if they can keep him healthy, it will help big time because he's obviously the best pitcher in baseball when he's actually pitching. There might be a gap. He's insane when he's actually playing. I could honestly, this is unbiased, I could see him getting hurt again. I could see it. It wouldn't shock me. That's what's going to happen over the past year and a half. But I don't know why he has to throw 101 every pitch, every fastball. I wish he could take it easy a little bit. You don't have to throw 101 every fastball because that's why he gets hurt. I mean, I don't want him to get hurt because he's going to be on the Braves next year, according to Buster Olney. But it helps him a lot because their pitching staff's a little banged up right now, for sure. So it will help him. Yeah, it helps him.
Yeah.
Not worried though. Not worried.
It'll definitely be a huge pickup for the Mets for sure. Obviously, any pitching staff that adds Jacob deGrom's a huge pickup. But it's gonna be it's gonna have that double duo. I think Mets, if they can get to the playoffs and not choke like they do every year, if they can get there, I think they'll be really dangerous there because of that pitching rotation. Assuming Jacob deGrom's healthy and Matt Scherzer's healthy. Matt Scherzer's had a great year so far. He's pitching low 2s in ERA. He's had a great year so far. And if Jacob deGrom comes back 95% of what Jacob deGrom we're usually used to, that pitching rotation will be dangerous, like it usually is for the Mets. They typically do have a good pitching rotation. So that's what that means for the Mets. All right. MVPs and Cy Youngs for this week. This is how it works. We do this every week. If the season was to end today, who would be the MVPs and who would be the Cy Youngs? I'll start off. MVP American League. I have the same 2 people I had last week. Yordan Alvarez. And last week you said Aaron Judge, and I don't know who you're about to say right here, but it better be Yordan Alvarez because this guy has a gap. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, his average is 309 right now. He has 23 home runs and a 1.0, I think 17 OPS if I can read my own handwriting. That is ridiculous. This guy is a stud. And he is hitting the crap out of the ball. And you could see the potentials from the past years. But this year, he's really been what he's supposed to be and what everyone's seen he could be. And he's putting it all together this year. And if the season was to end right now, I'd have to give him the American League MVP. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. It's Yordan Alvarez, and there is a bit of a gap that can be closed quickly, but I don't know if it will be. I've seen a lot of people saying it's going to be hard to give the DH, because he is a DH, the MVP over Aaron Judge, who's playing well. Anybody's in the outfield. I disagree a little bit. That's mostly Yankee fans.
Yeah.
But yeah, Yordan Alvarez is definitely the MVP. He's the best hitter in baseball right now.
Yeah.
One of.
And I also disagree with that. David Ortiz won MVP, and he was DH. And I was.
Yeah,
and I don't.
that's Yankee fans.
Yeah, but it is what it is. And MVP for National League, I think we can both agree on this. Is Paul Goldschmidt, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Paul Goldschmidt, he's batting .341. That's a ridiculous average to still have. 19 home runs and a 1.048 OPS, which leads the majors in OPS. I mean, he is just he's hitting the ball. He has 19 home runs, dude. Paul Goldschmidt, this has to be the best year he's ever had. I don't know his past years, but you would think it is. I mean,
it's up there.
He's probably the best player in baseball right now. I mean, those are the 2 MVP caliber people I have, and he's better than Yordan Alvarez, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I would say Paul Goldschmidt's the best player in baseball.
Yeah, I have Paul Goldschmidt as well. I'll tell you something. Go look at his baseball reference page. He probably has one of the most underrated careers, like, of all time right now. One of them. because he played for the Diamondbacks for a while.
Yeah.
He is very good. He's always been very, very good, and he
Hmm.
will be probably a first ballot Hall of Famer,
Wow.
at least second ballot. I mean, come on,
Maybe.
his stats are insane.
Yeah. Maybe he can put together with the Cardinals this year and then get a ring or something. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd help a lot. Yeah.
All right, moving to Cy Youngs for the American League. I still have Shane McClanahan. Is that who you got?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay, yeah. He's 9-3 right now with an ERA of 1.74 and a 0.81, but I do not think he's the best pitcher right now. But I do think he's the best American League. He's not.
He is.
He is not. And here's why he's not. Because the Cy Young for the National League is Tony Gonsolin. But, shake your head all you want. Listen to this. Shane McClanahan leads in 2 stats over Tony Gonsolin. That is whip and strikeouts. Okay? Alright, that's it. Because Tony Gonsolin, one, has not lost a game yet that he has started. He's 10-0. Okay? Record's overrated, though. I agree. He has a 1.54 ERA. He's first in the majors. He leads that stat. He leads that stat and wins, too. But 1.54 ERA compared to the second highest in the majors, which is Shane McClanahan, at 1.74 ERA. That's a little bit of a gap there from 1 to 2. Okay? And then he has a 0.82 whip. And then I said Shane McClanahan leads him in whip. And Shane McClanahan has 0.81. He leads it by 0.01. Okay? Now, strikeouts, I know it's a big thing. I think that's a super overrated stat, but a lot of people disagree with that. I think strikeouts are absolutely overrated. I think it's ridiculous. Shane McClanahan has like 122 strikeouts or something like that. I think he leads the majors in strikeouts. That's great.
No.
That's a good tip. Tony Gonsolin's actually strikeouts aren't even all that high. I think it's like 77, something like that. But the dude, no one hits hard contact off this guy. And not saying they do off Shane McClanahan either. I know they don't. But I think there's a gap. And I think the only reason you can't, this is regular season. It's a regular season reward. I don't care what his playoff stat says. Once he gets to the playoffs, could care less. It's a regular season stat reward. And the stats show. That's the way I got it. That he's the best pitcher in the majors right now.
Well, nationally, I got Sandy Alcantara still.
Holy crap, that is bad.
Hot take Terry, Tom. Tony Gonsolin, second half. No, listen. Hot take Terry. Tony Gonsolin, I watched him pitch against the Braves. He's one of the... We had him going to decision. We were supposed to beat him. Kenley Jansen blew the game. Whatever. Laugh it up, okay? Tony Gonsolin is not that good. He's not. He's a good pitcher. He's good. But second half, Tony Gonsolin will be back in the probably high 2s, low 3s. He'll still be a good pitcher. They're not like Cy Young caliber pitcher. He'll beat 3 ERA. Just wait.
All right. Record. Okay. Well, it's supposed to... The thing is, if the season ended today...
It's still Sandy Alcantara.
That's ridiculous. Gosh,
no, it's not either. Nope. You cannot win a Cy Young with 77 strikeouts.
Strikeouts are an overrated stat. All right. Nope. NBA. Moving on. NBA. Zion Williams gets a pretty big extension. He can make up to $231 million with this extension. But the question is with this extension, and a lot of people are wondering, can Zion Williams get back to his old way of when he was drafted? Who knows? Like you just threw up your hand. Who knows? I'm going to go with he's a big man. You don't really see big mans kind of fall off usually because if you're good at it, you're good at it. You know, it's not like, not trying to diss up on big mans or anything. But down low, if you got the art down, you got the art down. I don't really think it matters how much time you take off. You know what I'm saying? Let's just put it that way. So, I think Zion can come back and be a big addition. And, is the contract worth it? I don't really know if I would have took that high of a chance. They offered him, I think, a max rookie contract, which is kind of crazy. I don't know how big of a deal that is. But, yeah, I mean, the question is, do I think Zion can return to his old form? I do. Will he? I'll say yeah. Yeah, I do think he will. What do you got?
Yeah, I say he will too. He's too good of a player when he's healthy and in shape. NBA is just one of them sports, man. Weird things happen to NBA players. They're too big, just lazy, don't want to play because of this reason. Part of the sport, I guess. But I think he'll be okay.
Moving on, NFL. Scary Terry gets an extension, 3 years for $71 million. He can earn up, or he gets a $28 million sign bonus. It's just a good move for the Commanders. And here's why I ask you, because you might be thinking right off the bat, boom. Scary Terry, of course that's a good move. He's one of the best wide receivers in the league. Here's why I'll shoot it at you. is because the Commanders are kind of in rebuild mode right now. I know they just got like a veteran quarterback, but here's the thing. Also, you could argue about why it would be a good move. The Commanders have been in rebuild mode for too long now, and it's starting to get like that. That maybe sign these guys, and I guess they're banking on the dude the Jaguars own. I already forgot his name. Their quarterback
Carson
now.
Wentz?
Yeah, Carson Wentz.
Oh,
Yeah, Carson Wentz. I guess they're banking on him to be pretty good, so they go out and sign Big Scary Terry. I thought maybe he'd be more worth of a trade piece, maybe, or letting him just leave and not pay him that big money. But I don't know. So they go out, they keep him, they sign him a big contract. Do I think it's a good move? If you think your team can win right now, yeah. Do I think the Commanders can win right now? No. So I'll say not a good move is what I'll say. Actually, what do you got?
yeah. Joe Terry's really good. I like keeping him if I'm the Commanders, but I don't understand their logic necessarily because they had this weird thing where they're like, we're a quarterback away. That's how a few teams are. Like the Broncos, they got Russell Wilson, great move. You got a quarterback. Commanders like, we need a quarterback. Signs Carson Wentz, who just like choked really bad with the Colts against the Jaguars to go to the playoffs. And Carson Wentz just is not that guy no more. He was pretty good a few years ago with the Eagles. I don't know why you do that. You're gonna be caught in mediocrity where you're not getting a crazy good draft pick necessarily.
Yep.
Unless you trade up for it. And I mean, I think it's an okay move. I'm in the middle on it. It's a good talent to have there, but it's like a 3-year contract or something. So by the time
it's 3 years,
they're ready to get going again, I mean, he might be leaving.
Yeah.
So
or
it makes sense to keep him though.
Yeah. Also, Carson Wentz left, try to get away from the Jaguars, obviously, and he didn't check their schedule before he left because we played their very first game. So he's not getting too far away. We'll get him again this year. Doesn't matter where he goes. We will hunt him down, and we will finish off Carson Wentz. All right. This is the last thing we're going to talk about today is what we're about to. So if you guys have anything you want to add in the chat, go ahead and add it now. We'll answer questions. This is also sports related. And Jake, if you have anything else to add at the end of it, think of it now. But Baker Mayfield said that both sides have moved on when talking about the Browns and him. Interesting, because he still plays for the Browns, and Deshaun Watson ain't looking like he's going to get to play. So what do you think's next for Baker Mayfield?
I hope he's a Panther. Let's send him down to the Panthers. Let him see what it's like down there in Carolina. I don't think there's a way that he's not traded by the first game.
Yeah.
I would be very shocked because they both said, obviously, we're done. Time to go. But now they got Jacoby Brissett, who'll probably be starting those games where Deshaun Watson's suspended, however long that is. But yeah, I hope Baker lands on his feet because he's not that bad as people say. He had a really bad year. He was playing. I'm not like a Baker defender or nothing. I don't think he's very good at all, but he's not terrible. Some people think he's like Sam Darnold level. He's way better than Sam Darnold. There's a big gap there. And it'd be a pretty significant upgrade for the Panthers if they didn't have to give up that much. That's how I feel. I hope he ends up with the Panthers.
Yeah, and for the Browns side, because you said it'd be good for the Panthers if they didn't have to give up that much. Other than the Browns, I'm trying to make the team give up that much. I'm trying to build around my future quarterback, Deshaun Watson, you would hope. And you can get some stuff for Baker Mayfield, especially for a team that's in need of a quarterback. And I try to go pick some teams' pockets, and then if you can't, ultimately, you just give them up. It is what it is, because he ain't going to play for you. So there ain't no reason to keep him. But I feel like also, now that Baker Mayfield has come out and said these things and stuff, teams will not be itching to give up a bunch of stuff away to get Baker Mayfield because they know they have to get rid of him. So there is no reason. It's not like there's a threat of them keeping him. So, so I do think what's next for Baker Mayfield is a trade. And where to? I mean, Panthers make sense. Anywhere that really needs a quarterback makes sense. And there's a couple teams out there. So, yeah, we got no comments. So you got anything?
Was Kevin Durant deal last week? Did we talk about? Or did that just happen after the podcast?
I think it happened right after the podcast.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Anyway,
Okay.
I don't really know about it, but
yeah, Kevin Durant.
Where do you think Kevin Durant's going?
Where do I think, or where do I want him to go?
Both.
Okay. Well, there's two teams I want to go. I want to go to the Hornets first of all because I'm a Hornets fan. But if you don't end up at the Hornets, because that's unrealistic, I'd like for him to go to the Lakers, and that's also semi-unrealistic. So, yeah. Why not trade, though? Hold on. Why not trade Russell Westbrook? or Kevin Durant. Russell Westbrook, something else, and then get Kevin Durant. Go
It's
Lakers.
just that easy, I guess. Yeah.
Go Lakers. But no, seriously, I don't know. Man, I don't really know. I don't know in the NBA good enough. I don't think a Golden State comeback would be all that cool. I know we talked about maybe the Suns. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Suns would be a cool team for him to end up. I think it'd be cool. Maybe the Celtics too. They were right there. Why not? They just made a pretty good move though, not too long ago. I saw. So trying to think of maybe another team. What about here's a wild card team? What about the Heat?
Yeah. Heat were up there.
Yeah. What about a
That could be
good
cool.
wild card team right there? What do you got? What do you think?
So what I want to happen is I want him to go back to Golden State because I'm not like invested in the NBA. I want to see like chaos. That would be bad. People would flip out if he went back to Golden State, really bad. And I think it's more possible than people think because I think Golden State has a lot more to give up because they obviously are not big traders anymore. They built their core over the years and they've kind of stuck with it. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would like that to happen. I think he's probably going to end up in Phoenix or Miami because it's Kevin Durant. He always ends up where he should win, but then sometimes doesn't win. Like with the Nets, he's supposed to win, but didn't.
Yeah.
I'm not a Kevin Durant fan, but I kind of prefer him over a lot of some other players because he was like used to everyone liked him.
Yeah.
A long time ago. Now everyone don't like him because he went to Golden State. But yeah, I think he probably goes the Suns or the Heat. Whoever wants to give up more, and he'll probably win a ring with one of them. If no one chokes, they'll be the best team.
Yeah,
they'll win one. But
all right, well, I think that'll do it. You got anything else you want to talk about or anything? All right, I think that'll do it for this podcast. Appreciate you guys joining in and talking, chatting, viewing, and if you're watching this later, I appreciate it too. Go check out both YouTube channels, Boogie Gaming and the one you're watching this on right now, Boogie Sports. And go check out my Twitch where I'll stream games at Boogie Gaming 01. And join the Discord that's in the description below. Maybe not in this video, but on the regular videos. And